What is up, CineNerds? Are you ready? I'm Ryan.
I am not Heather. I am JP Cross.
I'm Heather. You're Heather. We're all Heather.
Are we all Heathers?
In case you guys couldn't tell, we're reviewing the 80s movie, Heathers. This one is, I can only describe this one as the best anti Hughes movie possible. It was kind of a counter to the kindness and happiness that Mr. John Hughes was putting out during the 80s. And this kind of took it to the other side of the table with the darkness. And so we're going to delve into this and explore a little bit.
And before we get there, CineNerdsPodcast.com. Like, share, subscribe, follow all of our socials. They're all links on there. Invite your friends to join us and, you know, share these full videos. We do a lot of reels and, our people on TikTok, even people on Facebook. I think there's a lot of people that think that our podcast is just those reels. That's just us trying to throw content out there for you guys. But our full episodes are, 45 minutes to an hour long of us actually talking about whatever film we're reviewing or talking about. So, you know, share this stuff to, get this content out here and it help join and build this community that we're working on here.
Yeah, and it also helps too. Like JP's explained over and over, and why reason we talk about these is because we're trying to grow. We want to make this go outward. So, if you're in a group, if you're on Facebook and you're talking in a group about movies or anything like that, feel free to tag us, throw us in the mix, put our share something to that group. But I guess what I'm getting at is that the more you guys share these episodes, the more that we can maybe have some reach. If you got a friend who's doing a long drive somewhere, if you're going on a trip and you need something to listen to and you like podcasts, we're your guys. We're your guys.
We want to be your guys. Just to listen to us, just
I
that
mean,
part.
and I will say this episode's probably a little darker than most of our episodes, so this is a rough one to go into, but we're gonna get into some fun here.
I always thought this was a happy film.
I mean, yes and no. Because you know what? To me, the main character isn't what's her face? It's not Winona Ryder. It's Martha.
The
Because
dump truck.
yeah. So Martha, if you guys have seen Heather's, she's kind of the sub character, the quiet person who's sitting at the lunch table by herself. She's the one getting bullied. She's the one that most of us have all been at some point, where you just feel like you're constantly being berated, attacked, insulted, the butt of people's jokes, bullied. And so this movie has a lot of roots that are explored in that for a time that it wasn't ideal for these things to be discussed. Because let's be real, in the 80s, I mean, we have it now too, and it's always going to have some kind of degree, sadly, but the 80s had a huge teen suicide crisis happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so for this movie to see the light of day, which it almost didn't, this movie brought that to the forefront and made people be like, hey, this is real. This isn't something that the kids are making up. I believe Winona Ryder's agent begged her, pleaded, got down on her hands and knees and pleaded her not to do this, saying this would be career suicide to do this role because of the dark context and the dark nature. And as we get into this movie and we go over this review a little bit more, when you hear the list of actors that turned down roles or they thought were too nice for roles because of this movie, it gets interesting real fast. So
Mm-hmm.
let's dig in.
So initial impressions. I know I watched this early on. Like I didn't. This wasn't a theater watch, but I remember watching it HBO something, maybe maybe even a video rental, um, and sitting down and watching it and going. I think basically solely because it was Christian Slater was in it, and um, I watched it and was like, this was not the film I thought I was going to watch as a young kid at the time, and I loved this film. This film was, but the thing was, I think when I watched it too, I don't think I understood it the way that I do as I did as I got older, because I was pretty young when this came out. I can't remember what year this came out, but I couldn't imagine I was any older than 10 or 11.
89.
Yeah, so I was about 10. So yeah, 10 or 11 is probably about the time that I saw it, and I don't think I fully understood the gravity of this film and the darkness that this film actually has. And I just watched it as and thought it was a fun film, that did have to do with kids killing themselves, but I thought it was a fun film. Then, you jump a few years ahead and I'm like, "Oh, that's what that's about. That's what that means." And you see things differently, And so yeah, initially I just thought it was a fun, weird film, and then as I got older, not even that much older. I mean, within a few years of that, when I was just in, by the time I got into high school and saw this movie after that, I was like, oh, all this makes sense. I get this. This film is just really relevant. Especially for our time period at that time. Because teen suicide, like you said, was a big thing back then, and it was a big concern and whatnot.
So this one to me, I saw this first when I think I was just going into my freshman year or starting my freshman year. And the reason my friends chose to watch it was because they thought it was exactly what JP was just saying. It was going to be like another cool movie, something like, it wasn't out at the time, but Pulp Fiction's a good example. Like we all kind of like thought that that was a novelty to see that movie and thought that it was cool, or like, I don't know, there's a bunch of movies that had that unique twist that you thought were just a vibe, right? And this movie, I watched it for the first time, and while they were all laughing and thought there was fun and, dealing with the Mean Girls aspects and seeing what they could compare to our school, I was looking at this way darker than they were, and I was like, "This movie's fucked up. This movie's really fucked up." Like, you've got a sociopath in Christian Slater, and, yeah, it just this movie took me for a wild ride I was not expecting, and I definitely was not, I did not leave this movie a 14-year-old with closed eyes.
All right. Do you want to give us a little bit of a synopsis on this one?
So, if you've seen Mean Girls, you understand the synopsis here. This is essentially you've got a clique of 3 women who are the Heathers. You've got Victoria, which is played by Winona Ryder, and she's kind of their
Veronica.
oh, Veronica, my bad. All the V's, geez. Anyways, Veronica is kind of their lackey because she doesn't have the name Heather, but she's considered the same equal level as them by her peers at the school, but not by the Heathers. The Heathers still are condescending, belittling the whole bit. And they manage to push buttons to a certain extent when a new kid comes to the school, played by Christian Slater, and Veronica has a sincere. She's drawn towards him. She's fixated on him, and she clings to his words. They have little hookup sessions, and things start transpiring, and he cracks jokes about trying to kill one of the Heathers, and she thinks it's just jokes. She thinks there's nothing more to it, but he finds a way to make it a reality, and all of a sudden, a first suicide happens, and then another suicide, and then a double suicide, and there's these events happening that unfold that is basically Christian Slater taking out his frustrations, and the movie progresses. But Winona Ryder's kind of a good guy and a bad guy here because she is along for the ride with him, but she's definitely torn about it. She doesn't think it's right. She doesn't think she should be doing it. And all the while in the background, there's this innocent girl. I want to keep bringing up Martha Dump Truck
Hmm.
because I feel like that girl is a lot of us. That's all. So
Yeah. And it's almost, for a while, it's almost like a Bonnie and Clyde, teenage Bonnie and Clyde, almost for a few minutes of this film, for a little while of this film. One thing I want to throw out there, talking about her name being Veronica. So, Winona Ryder's character's name is Veronica. Veronica Sawyer. Do you know this trivia?
no,
Okay, so her character name is Veronica Sawyer. So her former best friend, that is not a Heather, the girl that plays Betty, that was her childhood friend, her name is Betty Finn. and her character is played by a couple trivia things here. So her character is played by an actress by the name of Renee Estevez.
Hmm.
Do you know who Renee Estevez is?
Emilio something.
It is Emilio and Charlie Sheen's sister.
Okay.
So Veronica Sawyer, Betty Finn, they took these names, Veronica and Betty from Archie comics, and their last names from
Tom
Huck
Sawyer.
Finn, Huck
Huck
Finn,
Finn. Yeah.
Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn, and that's where they got their characters' names from. Was to pay homage to Archie and
Did
um,
you did you know about the high school? Why the high school's named?
what was it?
The high school is named Westerburg High, and that's because at the time Winona Ryder's favorite band was the Replacements, who was fronted by Paul Westerberg. And I bring that up because these guys, this guy in particular, shit all over my movie Singles, which had Paul Westerberg on it.
But you know what? The music in singles is great. The music wasn't the problem.
So is the movie. Anyways, I digress. Um, yeah, no, I there's tons of trivia facts in this, and I did not see that one, so that is interesting. I know there's another tie-in to a book, that or a movie, another movie they couldn't get rights to
It
use, so
was
uh,
the book that they're underlining and stuff and taking quotes from is Moby Dick.
and it was supposed to be Tale of Two Cities.
No, they wanted to use Catcher in the Rye, but
Catcher in the Rye. That's
they
right.
couldn't get the rights to Catcher in the Rye, and Moby Dick was open domain, so they used Moby Dick.
All right. Yeah, so there's things like that. There's all sorts of other fun. And I will say this too, as we're saying some little trivia here. So, do you know who saw this movie and then told her father about Shannon Doherty?
Oh, it's Tori Spelling.
Yep.
Well,
This is how Shannon got cast into 90210. So I thought that was kind of cool.
um, so one thing I want to hit off the gate, and it's opening scene, but you have multiple versions of this scene throughout the film. Um, I love these all the scenes with them playing what's the game? Oh God,
Uh uh uh
not
fuck
not
crochet. No, not
crochet,
crochet. Croquet, croquet.
croquet. I kept wanting to say polo.
I said crochet. Jesus
I
Christ.
I love all these scenes. You know, the bickering between these Heathers and Veronica, and them strategically hitting these balls and going, well, this is how you play the game. This is how you succeed. This is, I love all these. And yet, like, the whole opening scene is one of these big scenes, and there's multiple of them throughout the scene. There's even a dream sequence, with Veronica being buried and them hitting her in the head with these balls. And I love all of these scenes for whatever reason. I think they're just silly but dark but very true all at the same time.
There's some great quotes in this movie too. From that one Heather one that what'd she say? Fuck me sideways with a chainsaw is the
That's
one quote.
actually that's actually my first note in my list here is actually Heather. Fuck me gently with a chainsaw. Do I look like Mother Teresa?
I actually wanted to like I was like, did Damien Leone get inspired from this? Like, because that was hilarious. So yeah, that was a great quote. Was that said by Heather McNamara? Was that the main Heather?
The original, the first Heather. Yep.
Yeah, so I think the person who's supposed to play her originally was Heather Graham, a
Mhm.
17-year-old Heather Graham, but her parents would not allow her because it was so dark in the
Yeah.
language that was being used in it.
Yeah.
Um, and on the flip of that, for Jason's character, JD, you had Brad Pitt, Jim Carrey, Judd Nelson, and Jason Bateman were all turned down for these things. That's insane.
Yeah. I think Christian Slater's the better pick for this film.
Me too. And I also read more trivia about him with this one. Apparently, after the movie was done filming, he claimed that Jack Nicholson gave him inspiration, and he actually sent a cut of the movie to Jack Nicholson, hoping that he would say something, and he didn't.
Yeah.
Which is
I had actually I think read saw a behind the scenes years ago, and and Christian Slater actually talking about that. So yeah. Um. So I wanted to ask the question:
Go ahead.
You inherit $5 million.
Oh, fuck's sake.
You inherit $5 million, Ryan, and you have 2 days before aliens land on Earth and destroy the planet. What do you do?
I take my family to Maui because it's the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life, and I'll just sit on the beach and watch it happen.
That's fair.
Because I don't need money at that point. We're gonna die, so I don't care about how much I've inherited. It can sit in the bank for all I care. I'm just gonna spend it to buy those plane tickets, first class, all the way for my whole family. We're gonna go to Kanapali Beach, where my wife and I got married. We're gonna sit on that beach and just watch it happen with some
Okay.
cocktails. How about you?
Hmm. I would say
Oh, you didn't expect
pro-
to have it come back at you, huh?
no, no, I did, but there's factors in mind, I guess. Because I would want to be with my kids, uh, and whatnot, and but my kids are spread out, and I'm sure they would maybe want to do things with, be torn on what they would want to do, and because they have families, and whatnot.
Well, fuck.
Um, so I think that's a tougher answer question for me. But I would want it to be something very similar to yours. I would want to go like, hey, let's go wait this out, in the fucking on a private island, someplace beautiful and just soak up all this with what little time we have left, Um, so I think it's little different for me, But that what you said is what I would want. I just don't think I could make it. I don't think it would happen that way
It
for me.
if nothing else, it would happen with my wife and I. But
Yes,
the kids, to your point, that's the thing. It's one of the things that fucking sucks about getting older is when your kids have significant others that they care about and they've got families, and there's just more to it now that we're older with older kids. And so, would I want to go to Maui and do that and bring all my kids? Absolutely. Would they leave their significant other? No. Would that significant other come with us and leave their family behind? Probably not.
probably not.
So I don't know how that would all transpire either, but at the very least, my wife and I would.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, no, I lie because my wife would not let me leave my kids, so I'd probably be stuck here in Cleveland. I'd have to go to I'd I'd have to go to Lake Erie and just sit on the beach and wait.
Sit on Lake Erie with your five
Yeah,
million dollars.
yeah. I'll make a bonfire out of $5 million.
Oh, I had to ask the question. It was in the
Yeah.
movie.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
my next, I know one of my next notes. Um,
Well, hold
so
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. This presents a good question. So, to JP's point, that was a big contextual point of this movie. They were going around doing a sociological experiment, asking kids in their school that particular question,
mhm.
and just to hear responses and then judging them and being Heather's. But what would you do? Those of you guys listening, sound off in the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are, or feel free emails the three senators gmail.com. But you've got what is it, 48 hours, right? And
48 hours.
$5 million before the end of the world. What are you going to do? I would love to hear feedback on this one because that's a great question. That's
Hmm.
it's always interesting to see somebody's take on that and see what means what to them.
Yeah, and yeah, and what I was getting at, with my next note, they go through and they're asking, kind of like you said, they're asking all these kids, for their entertainment, what these kids would do, and there's, oh, I'll do drugs for blah 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 blah, or I'll go do this, or I'll go do that, and I'm gonna, you know, typical. A lot of it was typical teenage banter on what they would do, and some of it was very idiotic, and some of it was probably like, okay, Um, but they get to Christian Slater's character, Veronica. They coach her into going and talking to him because she's been eyeballing him this whole time in the cafeteria, and so she asks this question, and he responds. She goes, "I got a dumb question," and she asks it, and he goes, "That is a that is one of the dumbest questions I've ever been asked." But the scene after this is what got me. Is there's these football players, these two best friend football players. So they see Veronica talking to him, and after she walks off, they come up and they're like, oh, they go up there to fuck with him, bully him, be the jocks, and he gets up. Christian Slater gets up, pulls out a gun, and fires it directly at them. Now the gun has blanks in it. He doesn't kill them, and he gets suspended. And so my note is, imagine what would happen in today's world with a gun scene in a cafeteria like that. Even with it being blanks, like this would be, you know, cops everywhere. This kid would be in jail. Shit would hit the fucking fan in today's world if this was to happen.
So this scene was where I was going to piggyback into a similar story for my era of growing up. I had a friend. I still have a friend. If I ever ran into him and I saw him, I'd still call him a friend. Named Jamie Tanner, and he was a solid dude, one of the best dudes I knew. Didn't have a mean bone in his body regarding unless you hurt him or his family or anything like that. So he's a good person. However, this would have been our freshman year, my sophomore, his freshman. He got caught with a hit list. Anyone that had ever done him wrong or had any ill will towards him or he thought wrongly of, they got their name added to this list. And it was just that. It was just a list. He would never would have acted on it, not his character, not his thing. I think he got a detention or an in-school suspension for it. That was it. Nothing else. And that was the end of the day. Now, this is pre-Columbine. Now, fast forward, 5 more years, and we were post-Columbine, and we would have been singing a different story. He
Mm-hmm.
probably would have been expelled. There probably would have been felony charges. So firing a gun with a blank in it on school grounds, yeah, that would have not flown back then.
Yeah, yeah. It would in today's world that would be. Oh yeah, he would be in jail. He'd be in prison. He'd never go back to public school. He would be his
It's
life would be over.
yeah.
You know, and but yeah, in this movie, he gets suspended for a day. You know,
Well, his character has a lot more things going on, and we'll delve into that here shortly too.
um, I love the scene. So after this, they Heather takes Veronica to a college party, and all these college kids, they're just wanting to bang these high school girls. Think it's easy lay, and the one guy's like, "Oh, I love talking to high school girls," which all this plays out very um date rape,
I was gonna
statutory
say,
rape,
I was gonna say
statutory rape.
meathead.
Yeah, statutory rape. These guys are college kids and these are high school girls, and Veronica doesn't even drive, so I don't know how old Veronica's supposed to be, but she doesn't drive, so I'm assuming she's only 15, maybe 16. I didn't ever hear them say that they were actually seniors, or at least her character. I could be wrong, but definitely not 18. Um, at a college party, and he's sitting here saying, "Oh, I love talking to high school girls because if you talk to college girl, it's just you know it's all about what your major is." Then he gets quiet for a second and he goes, "So when you go to college, what's going to be your major?" These guys are just fucking meatheads. This whole fucking film,
See, it's fitting. Meatheads.
meatheads.
So I think it's a little bit. Is it after this? A little before this when the first Heather goes down.
It's after this because that's the
Yeah.
Heather she goes to the party with, and she vomits all
Yeah, that's
over.
right. That's right. And so part of this whole thing is her apology because the Heather and Veronica have gotten into it pretty hard. and Christian Slater goes with her to her house, and he's been egging this on the whole time. He's been talking about how to kill her, and he comes across like he's joking, like it's not anything serious. Here, he gets essentially Drano, and he pours it in a cup. And there's another cup of juice or whatever. What was it? Juice and milk, I think is what they
Yeah, it
did.
was a mixture, just some concoction. It would just be nasty.
And somehow Veronica grabs the one that had the lid on it, which was the chemicals, which,
Hmm.
and Christian Slater knows that, said something. He's like, whoa, what? Oh, okay, never mind. It does
Yeah.
one of those. So they go into the bedroom and give her this drink and try to say it's, her making amends. She wants to, bury the hatchet, so to speak, or for real. And essentially she drinks the poison, and at first she wasn't going to. She's like, "What do you think I am, stupid?" And does one of those, and they have
Hmm.
to, counter her with "What are you, chicken? Can you not do it?" Essentially, one of those deals.
Yeah.
She drinks this thing, takes it straight to the face, and she just straight through a glass coffee table falls over. Um, the wheel starts spinning. And I don't know if Christian Slater's character was already preemptively planning this, but he convinces Veronica to write a suicide letter to make it look like it's a suicide now.
Hmm.
Um, the crazy thing about this is there's a little bit of trivia to this scene as well. And that was that this particular Heather and Christian Slater were dating in real life. Throughout the filming of this movie, Christian Slater and Winona Ryder became an item.
Hmm.
And this was that Heather's exit, which I don't have her name, the actress's name, but this was how they had her exit because she wanted off. Now, Winona Ryder has never confirmed that this was an actual thing that happened. She has never confirmed that they dated, but I mean, it makes sense that that's where she went out first, and this is where the story lines up. And let's be honest, Winona and Christian Slater's characters are they have great chemistry on screen together, so it makes sense to me, kind of.
Yeah. And um, that character, her name is actually Kim Walker, or was Kim Walker, and she actually made a joke or made a comment in this film before her death scene. I believe it was in the cafeteria. She actually says something about I think it's to Veronica. She says, "Oh, what do you have, a brain tumor or something?" Or says something like that to her in this film. Well, a handful of years later, she died of a brain tumor in real life.
Wait, really?
Yes,
I did not know that.
yes. So that Heather, that Kim Walker, she died of a brain tumor.
Okay, that's a little insane.
Yeah. Also, the kid at I believe it's at Heather's funeral that's sitting there like praying over her body and saying, oh, I hope I don't ever die like by suicide or something, like this. Him in real life actually committed suicide years later. So yeah,
That's insane.
That's a couple of odd little things that happen. So yeah,
Oh,
that.
there's a bunch more that happened throughout this movie too. Even before this movie even got into production, the writer shopped it, and he was literally nobody would jump at this movie because of how dark it was. New World Pictures ended up taking it, but the catch was they only had X amount of dollars for a budget, and when they had the X amount of dollars as a budget, it significantly shortened what they were trying to do and made it a little bit more cleaner of a
Hmm.
movie versus how dark it originally was intended to be.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect. Winona Ryder, she received the script the same week that a classmate of hers at her high school died of suicide. And then the other big one is on set during right around these scenes is Shannon Doherty confronted a 40-year-old crew member who was having an affair with one of the extras that was on set.
It
That was
was underage.
underage. I was getting there. Yeah, it was underage. So she confronted him, and she recalled in the comments that she recalled it was the first time she'd ever been called a bitch.
Hmm. So I actually wrote my notes here when Heather dies here, and because I had never noticed this before, does she say corn nuts as she falls to her death?
Uh, you mean the glass table scene?
Yeah, like after she drinks the drain cleaner, like she falls as she's falling.
Corn nuts. Yeah, I
I
think she does.
I swear she said corn nuts, and I had never noticed that before. And I wrote that in my notes. I'm like, did Heather just say corn nuts as she
Yeah,
died?
no, I absolutely think she did. Absolutely do. That definitely chalks. Like I'm saying it in my head as I'm like
Yeah.
rewatching it. I'm like corn nuts. Like, yeah, okay, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And then
Now,
this. Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, Jesus. No, I was just gonna say. So, it's right around this time we first get a peek into Christian Slater's or his character JD, his life with his father. um, Winona Ryder and him are sitting at their house. The father comes in, and it's a very awkward, unusual setting to the point where Veronica decides, "Okay, you guys are good. I'm going to leave," and she
Hmm.
leaves. And you kind of get like this just awkward feeling between father and son. It just doesn't quite chalk right. And
Yeah.
you come to find out the father is kind of his own version of a sociopath. He not not only does he basically he demos buildings for a living. That's what he does. He just destroys them so they get taken down. But the you come to find out the mother had known of a building that was going to be demoed, and she took it upon herself to walk up to the top of the floor of this building and wave out the window to her son before it blew up.
Yeah.
So it gets real fucking dark real
Yeah.
fast, like
Yeah.
way darker, like from his side of things. And you start to kind of understand why Christian Slater's head isn't on right. You start to understand why he's kind of acting the way he is towards these Heathers. He has a disdain for them, a disdain for anything that's anti positivity, anything that's not uh, decent for society. He has this hatred towards, and understandably so. But yeah, this movie starts spiraling from here on out.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing is, I want to actually jump into another big scene here quick, but I want to point out another thing that I wrote down. So, like after Heather dies, the teachers are passing her suicide note around in school and showing the kids, like, here, read this note. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm going, this would never happen in today's world. You
I
know,
don't th I don't think it would have happened back then.
I don't think it would have either.
They were trying to kinda, make it out like it was some beautiful gesture the way that she wrote it because when, Veronica had written
Yeah.
it so well, because Veronica was a writer with the school paper, and so she had writing skills, which is why Christian Slater's wheels were turning, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, let's write a letter, suicide letter."
So after all this, and this is one of the bigger scenes and one of the bigger build ups is so the new Heather, well, not new Heather, but one of the other Heathers uh, goes on a double date with Veronica with the two jocks that um, was messing with JD in the cafeteria. And they're just drunk jock asshole meatheads, and they're out cow tipping, being idiots, and well, they're the ones trying to get his hands on Veronica. He falls in cow shit. They're all drunk, and she's trying to get away. She's walking up the hill, and you literally look in the background and you see the other Heather pinned on the ground being sexually assaulted by the other jock as she's walking away to go meet back up with JD. And like, this is just all kinds of messed up, you know. And then it goes into the next day, and these two jocks have basically said, "Oh well, yeah, Veronica, did this, this, and this with both of us, and spreading rumors, and how this fucking rumor mill starts in high school, this high school bullshit, of trying to be more badass than what you actually really are. So they make a plan to scare these jocks with JD, with these fake uh, ammunition that um, just barely pierces the skin but puts them to sleep. Um, and the bullets, he says a German name, and I can't remember what the words are, but he asked Veronica, is like, do you know German? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, these are blah 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 bullets. Now the translation of those is like something like lies or something like that. He's telling her that this is lies in German, that these are real bullets. Um, So Veronica thinks that these are fake bullets. This is all a big joke. So they set up this meeting in the woods before school with the two guys and Veronica to have sex with her, and they're setting them up to make them look like lovers, gay lovers that don't want to live without each other but can't come out, into this world. And they essentially have all this set up here with and I wrote this in my notes and I found this funny because this whole movie takes place in Ohio. And I wrote mineral water. This is Ohio. If you're drinking if you're drinking beer, uh you may as well be wearing, or if you're not drinking a beer, you might as well be wearing a dress. Was the comment. Did I lose you, Ryan?
You did. Are you there now?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm showing your video thing and it's showing red on your screen over here. Oh, there you are. And you're green now. Uh, yeah, I looked over at your um internet meter because it shows me an internet meter and it was like yours was turned red.
There's no one on. I've got full. I just did full bars.
Eh, it may have just been a lag in the internet.
It's so weird.
Yeah. What was the last thing you heard?
Uh, you started telling a story and it just froze. I forgot what the last story was you told.
I was talking about well, I went through the whole date rape thing with the jocks.
Yeah, I saw that. And you started talking about how they were lured in that she was going to do the threesome.
Yep. So that's where I was, and so I actually got through that story. I don't know if I want to do I need to repeat it? Uh,
I mean, I can piggyback off. We're good.
okay. Um, so we had a technical difficulty. We're going to cut this back in. Uh, so they get into this. They shoot these guys, and but the big thing was,
The bullets were real.
the bullets are real. But the one thing that I said a quote that I wanted Ryan to hear, and we lost signal, so I wanna add this back in so he could hear the quote that I put in here. As they're setting all this up, she questions mineral water. And he said, "Yeah," he said, "This is Ohio. If you're not drinking a beer, you may as well be wearing a dress."
Yeah, I mean, so they were trying to stage it to make it look like they were gay lovers,
Yeah,
and the mineral water being the assumption there is low key funny as hell. But
yeah.
yeah,
I love that. I mean, I just love that, and
well, what's funnier is the funeral for these two. The dad over his son, he's like, "I don't care if you were gay, son. I love you."
yeah, yeah. I actually wrote, "I love my dead gay son."
Yeah,
uh, so yeah, they end up killing these
I got
two
to play that for
guys.
justice.
They they end up killing these two jocks, and setting them up as gay, and then there's a funeral for these guys. Another scene I want to point out during this, like before they got to the funeral. So JD and Veronica hightail it back to their car, and they strip their clothes off, and they're making out, and the cops like are running around trying to figure out what's going on. The one cop gets there, and he's literally over the walkie going, "Hey, all I got here is two teenagers, making out." And then the one guy's like, "Are they naked?" I'm like, "They're teenagers. Why are you asking if these teenagers are naked in a creepy fucking way? You're a cop."
Maybe he was just trying to be thorough to make sure they were being legitimate and they weren't suspects.
But then he turned and said, "No, I've got it figured out. There's, just come back here. I already know what's going on." So he had already had that figured out.
Okay, so whatever, creepers. Yeah, so basically though throughout this though, now we've got I think but that was so there was another kid who he, unalived himself. But now we've got the two football players too. So there's a series of people who are unaliving themselves. Amidst all this, we come back to Martha. Martha is basically what we don't haven't talked about is the fact that right off the rip in the beginning of this movie, the Heathers thought it would be funny, so they wrote her a love letter from one of the Jockos before he passed, and the love letter said crazy things to her, and so she thought it was real. She went up to them, and they basically shit all over her for it and started laughing and being rude and doing what they do. Combine that with just people poking fun at her, her being the quiet one in the corner. All these things start piling up. Life is piling up on this poor girl, and she literally tries to walk out into traffic to die, but does not succeed in unaliving herself. But that's how bad it had gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got the series, the string of people who have unalived themselves supposedly, and you've got now Martha who has tried as well. So there's a little bit of a epidemic happening, whether it be a sociopathic serial killer, Christian Slater,
Mm-hmm.
or it be what's happening amongst teenagers, which they can't really differentiate at this point because of the crisis happening in the 80s.
Yeah. And then after all this, there's another scene where the other Heather calls into the radio station, and kind of makes a fool of herself, but she's reaching out for help. And then Shannon Doherty's Heather, they know who it is, and so she tells the whole school, and they're all making fun of this Heather. So she literally gets up and goes to the bathroom and takes a whole bottle of pills, but Veronica comes in and saves her. So there's even more instances like this as the film goes along, with even more of these girls um and people, trying to unalive themselves. And Veronica even asks Heather's like, again, the common trope of, if you jump if Heather was to jump off a bridge, would you? And she was like, well, yeah, probably. Yeah, she's saying she's a follower.
Yeah, and the crazy thing here is you should see Veronica's redemption arc in these
Mm-hmm.
moments, because she didn't know legitimately that Christian Slater was knew about the poison and didn't know that her friend was going to drink that poison, so she was an accomplice, so to speak, in that situation. And then he had lied further about the bullets, and then made
Mm-hmm.
her an accomplice in those situations as well too. So, and not to mention what the ripples outward had happened. So now she is very, very torn inside. And, she stops the one Heather, and then she checks Shannon Doherty's Heather, because she thinks she's the new main squeeze, the new main Heather. And
Mm-hmm.
she checks her heart and says, bitch, hold up.
And so during this time, JD actually goes to Shannon Doherty's Heather and makes a deal with her, because he has photos of her as a child with dump truck. And he's talking about, hey, I'm gonna post these all over the place, but I want you to do this. And so the deal is, she has to get this petition signed, and it's to get this band called Big Fun, which is the band from the movie, has like their theme song of the movie, to play their prom. And so they get every teenager in the school to sign this petition, but there's a sticker over it, and the sticker over this petition, if you pull it off, is actually a declaration that all the kids are agreeing to be blown up in the school. Um, so all that's been put into motion, and go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Um, so in the midst of all this, uh, Veronica is done with JD. She realizes that this guy is fucking psycho, and she hangs herself, but she does a fake hanging of herself, and he shows up. You have to presume that he's showing up to actually kill her, but he shows up and she's hanging by her neck, and so he leaves, and then he goes to the school the next day, and he even tells one of the
Oh,
teachers, "Oh, well, Veronica hung herself last night,"
but
but
but the great part about that scene is the fact that she does it with the intention of hearing what he has to say.
yeah.
She wants to see what he says based on seeing her dead body,
Hmm.
and he confides everything in her about his plan, what he's going to do to the school, what he's going to do to the students, and it's pretty insane. So he leaves thinking that she's dead, and mom has found her too, and mom is like beside herself, and then she just looks up. She's like, "Hi, like basically, hi, mom." But now she knows. Now she has an idea of what's happening, and so
Hmm.
she runs to the school. And as JP said, this one person thinks that she's dead because he's done as much as to tell people that.
Yeah.
But this is where the other parts happen. So we know that his father's a sociopath as well, and his father kind of gets off on demoing buildings. So Christian Slater's learned a lot from his dad, and he has stacks of dynamite that he starts putting to the underside of the bleachers in the
Hmm.
gym for a pep rally, I guess it is.
Yeah.
And so Veronica gets there and she tries to stop all this, and it gets interesting.
Yeah, and yeah, Veronica goes to stop him, and that they fight. There's a skirmish between them. They're beating the crap. I mean, they beat the crap out of each other, and like he beats the crap out of her, he beats the crap out of him. Um, and I love. There's one scene in this where she actually has the gun, and he's flipping her off, and they're like yelling at each other. He's flipping her off, and she shoots his middle finger off.
Yes, she does. That was impressive too,
Yeah.
because his face and he looks over like, "You bitch," like
Yeah.
it was so good. Um, but yeah, so this stuff transpires. She thinks that she's taken him out, and he at the same time, right after she shoots the finger off, he stabs his knife into the counting down the. Why am I having a brain fart here? The
The
the det
dynamite.
the
The,
detonator
the
around the
detonator.
dynamiter, and he shoves a knife into that, and when he shoves the knife into it, it stops the detonator at 4 seconds. And then he falls over like he's dead. So she thinks this is over, and so she walks outside of the school building, and he comes out behind her. I'll let you go in a little bit, JP, because I could talk on.
Oh no, you're fine. I mean, but yeah, no, he comes out behind her, and she basically just tells him, it's done, it's over, you're a joke, blah 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 blah, and he walks out. She puts a cigarette in her mouth, and I love this. She puts a cigarette in her mouth, and he blows himself up, and from the explosion of him blowing himself up, it lights her cigarette.
But that was her response to him saying he's done and he's gonna take the easy way out because he's got
Hmm.
dynamite strapped to himself. When she sees that, that was her response. She's about, I don't know, 20, 25 yards away from him, and she
Hmm.
puts the cigarette in her mouth waiting, like
Yep.
saying, "Go ahead and do it, chicken shit." And he did it. And so everyone in the school comes running out past her, and she's just got the cigarette in her mouth. So, yeah.
And she
Um,
she go ahead.
I was just gonna say this movie is incredibly dark, but believe it or not, there was intention for a sequel, and I'll talk about it
Yeah.
in a sec.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Um. But yeah, and then after this, Veronica goes back in. She takes Heather's red headband because that's how you distinguish the Heather that's in control, and puts it on, goes up to Martha Dump Truck and says, "Hey, how about a night of movies and popcorn?" And they walk down the hallway together, and the movie concludes.
Which
And kind
that part meant so much to me, man. That was such a good moment.
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It's such a sweet moment, and it's a sweet note to end the film on.
Now, in 2009, I think it was Conan O'Brien, Winona Ryder was in an interview, and she said that she was in talks at the time. So by now, it's not going to happen. We're talking 20 years ago, but at the time, there was talks of her reprising her role as Veronica as a grown up in the working world, and she's working for a senator. And she's essentially a steward or page to a senator. And this senator was it was another person named Heather, to be played by Meryl Streep, who plots and executes a plan to kill the president of the United States and gets away with it.
Yeah,
That's the premise of the movie. And I was like, that actually would have been kind of cool. I would have been good with that.
yeah,
That's better than the high school stuff that made me think of Trauma.
yeah. That would have been awesome. I've actually read that, and yeah, that would have been amazing. Um, did you look at box office or budget?
I sure as shit did.
So I will say this: I don't know. I didn't look at it, but I will say I know that this is a low budget. Why do I know it's a low budget? Because it was done by New World Pictures, which is a Roger Corman production company. That was Roger Corman's production company. He never did anything big budget. Um, and best I remember, this movie bombed, and I
Hard.
think hard, like to the extent I believe this was one of the films that ended up being one of the reasons Roger Corman sold New World Pictures. So all that being said, Corman was known for only doing budgets of anywhere from 500,000 to 3 million. So I know that the budget's got to be no more than 3 million.
On the money.
Is it 3 million?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think. Well, if you read any of the trivia like me, you would have saw. I mean, that was one of the first ones that was there. It was when, as soon as they acquired it, they instantly said, "This is all you're getting. This is your
Oh,
budget," and
I,
it
I,
was
I
3 million.
missed I missed that. I just know who Roger Corman. 500,000 to 3 million is usually
And
about.
you've talked about him a lot too, so
Yeah.
I know you know him well.
And
Um,
and as for box office, I know this bombed. So I mean, I don't think it even made its budget back. So I'll meet in the middle and say 1.5 million.
opening weekend. Let's start with that. How much do you think it made opening weekend?
Let's say 500,000.
It was 177,000. That was opening weekend. Now, gross worldwide, there's only a difference of 60K here between US and Canada versus gross worldwide. So I just put the gross worldwide. 1.1, almost 1.2 million was what it made.
That's the total gross.
Total gross. So this movie did not at all do well. And had they explored that idea of the sequel, I think that sequel would have done far above and beyond this, because this is one of those cult classics. It developed into such.
This movie didn't. This movie made money on VHS.
Yeah, it did not blossom till years after it came out, for
Yeah.
sure.
Um, and that's what I said. I knew that this was a Roger Corman production and from his studio, and I knew that this was a time period of when he had a lot of bombs, and that's when he ended up selling the company. And um, relinquished control of the company of New World Pictures. And best I was remembering, I was thinking this was one of the films that not wasn't the cause, but it was one of multiple causes. That with it completely flopping.
Yeah. No, this was interesting though. This movie took me into a darker place. The first time I saw it took me into a slightly darker place. Watching it as an adult as well. Um, I am somebody who loves this movie because I think there's a lot to be said about this movie, but from a learning aspect. People who are in a dark place probably shouldn't run towards this movie, if I'm being honest. But for those of you who have been through anything, or you are somebody who has learned from any past experiences, this movie has a lot to offer. It's good in that regard. I feel like if you're somebody who just liked the movie Mean Girls, or you like anything like that too, like this movie has those vibes, but it tends to lean in the favor of the person being bullied more than the Mean Girls. Oh, don't even.
Still got to get a review in.
Let's do it.
All right. So I, I, can't even talk. I always loved this movie. Like I said, I watched it with young, too young. Didn't understand it. Watched it a few years later, but even loved it. But watched a few years later, understood it. Older I got, understood it even more. And it's just a film that I always loved. And um, the dark comedy, the dark nature of this film, the dark drama of this film. Um, this is just one that I've watched this film multiple times through the years, and uh, I've watched it probably multiple times in the past few years outside of watching it again for this review, So I mean, I've watched this movie a lot through the years, and it's just one that I generally love. It's kind of a go to film that even if I'm just don't know what I want to watch, if I see Heather's there, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, there's Heather. I'll put that on, and I'm not upset about it. So it's just one of those movies that I can always kind of just put on. Uh, I will say, and I think I even said this in our review of Pump Up the Volume, that I prefer Pump Up the Volume to Heather's for the teen angst movie, of that time period. Um, but I think that one was more for me than Heather's was. But Heather's is just as good as Pump Up the Volume. Most people prefer Heather's to Pump Up the Volume. Um, but the cast is great. It's beautifully shot. The content is dark, and some of the stuff, the way they shoot it, kind of like I was talking about with
Croquet.
the croquet. Um, I love those scenes. They were so off the wall bonkers. And I just generally like a lot of the little aspects of this and the little things in this film. Even like and we didn't even talk about this scene, but like there's one scene like where Veronica's lighting a cigarette and she takes the old like car cigarette lighters, pulls it out and puts it in her hand, and JD literally grabs her hand and lights his cigarette off her the heat from her hand. And there's little scenes like that I love. And so it's just a movie I always go to. Uh, it's not a perfect film, but it's a fun one. I'm gonna put this one in at a 3.9, solid, high recommend though with the 3.9.
Wow. Okay, you're coming in a little higher than me, but we're around the same area. Um, I'm actually so the way that you took this movie, JP, kind of warms my heart a little bit because you saw this as a fun movie. You saw this as a movie that I think most normal people probably should see it as. I went to the dark places with it, obviously, but I think that says a lot to be able to enjoy a movie and let it be a movie. So I respect that. I like that a lot. I definitely went New Dark Place with this, but at the same time, there's a lot to be said with that, as I was saying before. It's got some learning elements. It's got some intensity to it. It's got some real, very, very real things to it. And I think more than anything, it says a lot about bullies and how bullies can control people, manipulate people, and turn the cards. But I won't go on and on about it. I'll just say this: this movie is superb, even though it takes you to a dark place, or it's possible that it can. It's a superb movie, and it's got a lot to offer, and it is beautifully shot. I did forget about that scene that you talked about, the cigarette lighter, because that is a really cool moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but all in all, this movie it's something that I'll go back to and I'll watch here and there, and I definitely think it's got a place in cinema for sure from the '80s, if nothing else, the counter, the anti John Hughes, if you will. So this one's a 3.5 nerds from me.
Okay. Film recommendations. You got any?
Good luck, have fun, don't die. That's my recommendation.
I haven't
Uh,
watched that one yet.
So this is a great movie surrounding time travel, but in a quirky, awkward way. It's interesting, energetic. Sam Rockwell is the lead, and I love him. At some point down the road here, I will make JP watch the movie Choke, and I think that's the best way I can summarize Mr. Rockwell from that movie. But this movie did not disappoint. It dragged a little, had some pacing moments, but outside of that, once we got past that, we were in a good spot. Solid movie.
Okay, so I'm going to go to an older film that I had never seen, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't actually know this film existed, and I watched this here recently, and I bought it on a blind buy on sale, and it's a Stephen King film called Desperation. Have you ever seen this one?
I have not, but I know of it.
See, I did not even know of it, and so I bought it on a blind buy because I buy all this Stephen King shit, when it pops up on sale, and I had never seen it, and never heard of it. Did not know this film existed. Came out in 2006, and so I was like, oh, yeah, what the hell? It's Stephen King. Yeah, I watch all his shit movies, and I watch his good movies, and so this is just another one I'm going to add to that list. And so I watched this film, and I actually had a lot of fun with it, man. I mean, this is a pretty dark film, and there's a great cast. I mean, you got Ron Perlman's in it. You've got Tom Skerritt. You got Steven Weber. Um, you've got Henry Thomas in it. Mick Garris directed it, which Mick Garris is kind of known for having a lot of shit movies. And he did a lot of shit King films, but this is actually one of his better King ones, I feel like. Um, and it follows a the premise of it almost feels like a Stephen King version of My Name Is Bruce with the with was his one G or the deity, the Asian deity, 1D.
The protector of the eel stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the protector of the cheese curds or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
But the premise is basically this deity, this Asian deity, basically gets out of this mine. It sounds very familiar to My Name Is Bruce already.
Yeah,
You see,
yeah.
and possesses these people, and basically goes around and is kidnapping and killing people. And that come in or in close proximity to this town. Um, so it's obviously it's not a comedy like My Name Is Bruce. It's a Stephen King movie called Desperation that has a little bit of some of those same elements. But I actually I had a good time with it for a low budget 2006 Stephen King film. Yeah, it's not going to win awards, but if you like some of these lower end Stephen King films, this is one of the better ones I've actually seen that I'd never heard of.
It was a TV film, and the one of the main
Mm-hmm.
characters is Mr. Tom Skerritt, and he also played the mayor in Singles. I'm just wanting to
Mm-hmm.
point that out. So
He
I get to
also
bring up Singles twice in this episode.
he also played in Top Gun.
Yes, he sure did. You know what just popped in my head, and you said that instantaneously, the Nintendo soundtrack song for Top Gun, because it's like all pixelated. Dun, 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 dun.
I used to play that game all the time.
I love that game.
Uh,
80s.
um, yeah. Well, do you have anything else? Did you like to say or add or?
I got nothing except this. I will say this. Uh, if you or anyone you know is having dark thoughts, and I'm just throwing this out there because of the context of the show we're watching, or movie we reviewed today, just make sure you reach out, make sure you say something and talk to people. There are people all around, and don't ever feel like you're in the dark of a place because you'd be shocked. People are there for you more than you'd realize.
And if you can't find somebody, do what I do. Put on the shittiest movie you can find and just have fun with it.
I guess there's that. Well, until next week, guys. CineNerds out.
Later, guys.